What's up YouTube, Webbers5 here, coming at you with my Odd Eyes Pendulum Magician combo video deck. Before I get into it, just want to say a quick shout out to NextGenJ for suggesting that I do this. And also just want to say a big thanks to you guys, because I've noticed in like the 2 weeks that I've posted this video, I've had like over 1,500 views, 42 likes and 35 subscribers. So really big thanks to you guys that you're really appreciating this content that I'm doing. And on that note, I'll get into the combos. But before I do, just want to say one quick thing. How nice does this thing look? My best friend did it for me a few years ago and just wanted to show you guys that out. Alright, let's get with the combos. Okay folks, so this first combo I'm going to show you is just a basic combo of what you can do with the trap card Time Pendulumgraph. Now for those who don't know, Time Pendulumgraph is basically a scrap dragon targeting magicians you control. So you target a magician you control and something your opponent controls and destroy both. However, it's got the added effect that if you don't destroy two cards, you just get to send a card on the field to your graveyard. So what I'm going to be doing is just quickly showing you good ways that you can take advantage of this card's effects. Okay, so this first one is just a basic thing of you want to control Time Pendulumgraph, and then basically if you're just doing the generic effect of it to pop something on yours and your opponent's field, the best magicians you want for that option are either Purple Poison, Black Fang, or Double Iris. I say these specific three because they each gain effects upon being destroyed. So by targeting one of these guys and your opponent's stuff, you're both getting rid of theirs, and then you benefit by getting one of their effects off, either by Purple Poison's effect of destroying another card, so you get to pop two cards simply off destroying one of your own. Black Fang, so you can just res a dark spellcast from your grave. And then also Double Iris, so you know you've got your Time Pendulumgraph. By popping the Double Iris, you can go search for your other spell of Star Pendulumgraph. So that's one of the things you can do. Now here's one of the other. Now if you're in the position that you want to try and get rid of multiple cards, but you're in the position that you're against something that either your opponent's got something that benefits from destruction or is immune to targeting effects, there are a couple ways where you can force your send effect. For example, if you've got Time Star Magician on your field, either in your extra monster zone or your main monster zone, what you can do is you can activate Time Pendulumgraph, target your pendulum, one of your opponent's cards, to destroy both, and then you can use Time Star's continuous effect and send any of your magician, a spellcast from your deck to your graveyard. In my case, I would probably send White Wing first because I never really want to draw into this card, so plus it sets up for Zark later, so I'm going to go Time Pendulumgraph, target Double Iris, something of my opponent's. At the resolution, Time Star's continuous effect lets me send White Wing to the grave, so my thing's not destroyed. And now since I didn't destroy two cards, I get a free send. And that's one way of doing it. Another way to force the effect is if you're playing Pendulum Call. So what you want to do is you play your Pendulum Call first, get your searches, then then after it's resolved completely, use your Time Pendulumgraph. Target one of your scales and one of your opponent's stuff again, pop both. Since you're under the effect of Pendulum Call, your thing's not destroyed, so you're forcibly getting yourself an additional send without targeting, which is pretty useful. Okay, so the second combo I'm going to show you guys is what I like to call my Astrograph hand restack combo. So for this combo, what you're going to need is Astrograph Sorcerer, either Terraforming or Skyers, primarily just the Skyers because that's what you're going to search if you're terraforming. And then you also need Star Pendulumgraph and your Double Iris Magician. However, if you don't have one of these, Duelist Alliance works as well because it can search both of them. Though ideally you want to at least have Double Iris in your hand. Okay, so how this combo works is, first thing you want to do is you want to activate your Skyers just to ensure that your opponent can't target your scales. Next, you want to activate Star Pendulumgraph to get that on the field. Then what you're going to do next is you're going to activate Double Iris in your Pendulum Zone so as to not waste your normal summon. Then what you're going to do next is you're going to use Skyris' effect targeting your Double Iris Magician. You're going to destroy it and then search your Odd Eyes card of choice to your hand. In my case, I'll probably go with my Perform Power Odd Eyes Dissolver because he helps set up for future reference. Then, since the Magician's left your field, your Star Pendulumgraph's effect will go off Chainlink 1 for your mandatory search. You chain Double Iris' effect Chainlink 2 to add your Pendulumgraph to your hand. Then because a card on your field was destroyed, you activate Astrograph's effect, it's chain link 3, to special summon itself to the field, and then you can choose one card that's been destroyed this turn. In this case, your Double Iris, and then you add another copy of Double Iris from your deck to your hand. You do Double Iris's effect, chain link 2, going backwards to add your other Pendulumgraph to your hand. You're probably going to more likely go for Time Pendulumgraph. And then off Star Pendulumgraph's effect, you can search your Magician to your hand. There's no specific one that you should go for. You should just really pick what's best for your situation. Like, if you're really not sure what you want, like, Wisdom Eye is a good choice for that to float up a scale. Or another good choice is, like, if you're about to start attacking, probably Harmonizing Magician to get some additional monsters on the field. But in essence, you can just pick whatever you feel is best for your situation. So, yeah. And so from what you've done, simply by destroying one card, you've reset your hand completely. So yeah, that's pretty useful. Okay, so this next combo that I'm going to show you guys is a combo of how you can do a massive field advantage spam off with Pendulum Summoning. Normally this is a combo you'd want to do like mid to late game when you're trying to push for game. The cards you need for this are Oath Dragon Magician in your Pendulum Zone, Star Pendulumgraph on your field, and then just any Magician that you play multiple copies of in your deck, and a way to get rid of it. So in this case, you could have Sky Iris, or it could be like Black Fang is like the ideal one to use in this situation because his effect is just so easy to get himself destroyed. And then the cards you need in your hand are Astrograph Sorcerer, and then if you play it, you can use Chronograph Sorcerer. Like, Chronograph works really well for this situation, but I don't play it, so in that case you'd want to have two Astrograph Sorcerer, but I'll show you what the combo works with if you've got Chronograph in your hand, of how that works. And then the other card you want in your hand is either Harmonizing Magician or Wisdom Eye Magician. You want to have one of those two in your hand, because the other one you're just going to search with your Star Pendulumgraph. And so this is how the combo works. So basically what you want to do first is utilize if you're in the position you've got Sky Iris on board, you can use Sky Iris to destroy Black Fang and get a search, or you can just use Black Fang's own effect to pop its target on a monster, half its attack, and then Black Fang gets destroyed. If you're in the position that you've got, like I said, ideally you want to be doing this mid to late game, so if in the position that you've got a target in your grave, well, of course, naturally, Star Pendulumgraph will go off Chain Link 1, because it's mandatory. And then if you're in the position that you can use Black Fang's effect, ideally you'd want to use it. So for this situation, like I said, you'll probably be doing this mid to late game. So say you've got your Time Star Magician already in your graveyard, you would use Black Fang Magician's effect Chain Link 2, targeting your Time Star Magician. And then, like I said, I'm going to do this combo showing you Chronograph. This next bit, if you're playing it with the Chronograph build, is crucial that you do it in this order. So after Black Fang Magician's effect activates Chain Link 2, you want to activate Chronograph Sorcerer's effect Chain Link 3 to special summon itself. And then you want to chain Astrograph Sorcerer's effect Chain Link 4 to special summon itself. It's very crucial you do it in this order for this reason. So that's your chain link. Then you start resolving. So you're going to special summon your Astrograph. Then you're going to choose the Black Fang that's already been destroyed and add another copy of it from your deck to your hand. Then you use Chronograph Sorcerer's effect to special summon itself, and then you can also special summon another card from your hand, so you're just going to special summon the Black Fang Magician you just brought back. You just brought out to your hand. And that's the reason you have to play it in that order, because if you did it the other way around, you'd have to summon something else from your hand before you get your search. And then resolving it backwards still, so you can res Time Star Magician, and then Star Pendulumgraph's going to get you that other Magician that you want in your hand. But however, in the position that you're playing multiple Astrographs in this situation, I'm just going to quickly back up and show you the combo if you don't play Chronograph in this way. So like, in that situation, it's kind of just a similar thing. Still use Black Fang's effect to pop. But in that situation, you would want to have a target in your graveyard. So effect to search, effect to res that, and then you can chain double Astrograph, summon both, and then you just get 2 copies of Black Fang Magician to your hand. Which also gives you an additional scale if, for say, you don't have Wisdom Eye. And so then res, and then you get your search for your harmonizing. Okay. And so from that, you've got 3 effect monsters on your field before you've done your pendulum or normal summon. So what you want to do next is you want to use your 3 effect monsters on your field, and you want to link summon into your Decode Talker. Then from that, you want to activate your other scale 8. Like depending on what it is, like if you've got a Wisdom Eye, then use that and float for something else that you want. But in this situation, I'm just saying I've used 2 Astrographs, so we'll just go with that. And then you want to use Oath Dragon's effect and put your original Black Fang Magician back in your hand. And then from this situation, you're going to pendulum summon. You want to do harmonizing, Black Fang, and at least 1 monster from your extra deck. So that's your pendulum summon. You then want to use harmonizing's effect to special summon 1 level 4 low magician from your deck. It's not really a big deal which one you summon, but it can have an effect depending on what you choose to go into for your extra deck from there. So for in this example, I'm just going to pick some. So for this situation, I'm going to say I'm going to summon my Purple Poison Magician from my deck from Harmonizing's effect. It doesn't really, at this point, it doesn't really matter which zone it goes into. Oh wait, actually, no. So you want to do Purple Poison? It's not over there. Like I did. So I did. Ideally in this situation, so then what you can do there, again, this next pick is like depending on what you've chosen to bring back from your extra deck. So in this situation, there's not many extra deck plays I can do with Astrograph, so probably the best thing I would do is, well, depending if I'm okay with losing Purple Poison or not, I could do a Synchro Summon off that into a level 8 to one of Decode Zones. And then I've got 2 Darks, which I contribute into Starving Venom. So, from where you go from that, it's just really dependent on what you've chosen to summon. I'm going to show you another example for, say that's not an Astrograph, and say you've brought back, let's say Double Iris Magician. From this one, that's probably more ideal of what you want, because what you want to do next is, since Purple Poison's been summoned off the effect of Harmonizing and be banished when it leaves the field, what you want to do is overlay Purple Poison with one of your other ones, with any of your magicians except for Harmonizing. Then from that situation you want to make Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion, and then from there you can tune your level 4 Harmonizing with level 4 Black Fang, and Synchro Summon any of your good level 8s, like a good in this situation, I'm going to go with Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. And so from there, you're in a really good position to kind of push the game from there. Because you've got Decode Talker out, who's now gaining 1,000 points from the 2 monsters linked to it. A Supreme King Dragon Clearwing that can nuke your opponent's board of face-up cards on summon, and also auto-kill a monster in battle and burn its attack as damage. And a Supreme King Dark Rebellion who can drop the attack points of a monster it's battling to 0. So ideally, that's my ideal board if I was doing this, because that just gives me a really good position to just push the game. But again, the choices that you summon from here is really just dependent on what resources you have available. So for example, say instead of a Double Iris, you had a Wisdom Eye in your extra deck. Since it's not a Dark, you can't do those plays, so you'd probably just pick something more useful. I don't actually play too many generic stuff in my deck at the moment. I'm working on changing it, so if, say, it was a Wisdom Eye, I would probably just go into another Time Star. Or another option you can use instead of Clear Wing is you still use 2 dot. So you could also make stuff like Ignista, which is pretty useful. Or say you're not in the, or say you don't feel like using a level 8, you can just tribute off your 2 darks and make Starving Venom. Like, there's so many options that you could go into from that, but that's just the basic idea of how the combo works. So hope that was a good insight for some of you guys. Okay guys, this next combo I want to show off is just a few things of what you can do with Performer Power Odd Eyes Dissolver. Because I've noticed on my thing that on my video that some people are like questioning why I'm playing Dissolver because he's a level 8, but I find him so useful in this deck, and I'm going to show you why. So here's one of the things I sometimes like. Like, I find Dissolver gives me so many options of what I can do if I've got access to it. So, for example, but what I do with him is always dependent on what kind of monsters I've got on my field, but that's generally how this deck works. So, I'm just going to show you some of the common things I've tended to do with Dissolver. So, like, if I'm just in a really small position, like say I've just got 1 Pendulum on my field, and I'm not exactly in the best position to do a lot, what I'll probably do is find a way to... say I've got Skyros on board, I'll just pop one of my cards, search Dissolver to my hand, and then if I'm like in the position that I just want to be defensive, what I'll do is go to my battle phase, declare an attack with one of my Pendulum monsters, activate Dissolver's effect, special summon itself, and then my monster won't be destroyed, any damage is still taken though, and then I go main phase 2, use the Dissolver's effect to fuse himself with the Pendulum monster that just battled, and I'll just defend with a Vortex, which is pretty useful. And that's just one of the things I can do. Another thing that I could potentially do in this, another potential thing I can do with Dissolver is, say I'm doing a mass summon by summoning Joker. What I can do from there is, after summoning Joker, I could use it to just grab Dissolver to my hand. So then from there, I could do a Pendulum. And then from there, I could do a Pendulum Summon with, say this is what my hand is, Pendulum Summon, Harmonizing, and Purple Poison, because why not? And then Harmonizing's effect will summon something from there. And then from that, just overlay those into, let's just say Time Star for the moment. I'll use Time Star's effect, detach, whatever, to search my Dark Spellcaster. If I don't have Dissolver, I would search him. But for a generic situation like this, I could probably search another copy of Joker. I could search Astrograph, just in case one of my cards gets destroyed. And so then what I do is go to my battle phase, attack with Time Star, declare an attack with any of my Pendulums, use Dissolver's effect to summon himself, then just attack, and because you summoned Dissolver in your battle phase, that's an extra 2k you've given yourself on board to deal some damage. And then what I can do in main phase 2 with, say, this field is I'll set Time Star, Purple Poison, and Iris on my link, for my link markers to link summon my Deco Talker. I'll then use Dissolver's effect to fuse himself with Joker to meet the requirements of Performer Power Gatling Ghoul. And then I'm finding this was one of my more common plays, just if I haven't found a way to deal enough damage to win, because then off summon Gatling Ghoul burns for 200, which for each card on the field. And so by that point, I've got like a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4. My opponent's probably got a couple of cards as well, so that's normally just enough damage to just burn my opponent out. Then, like other things I can do with Dissolver is like make a Starving Venom before I can make Starving Venom, because he's a Dark Pendulum, because he meets that requirement. And then under the rare under a rare situation, I've got Starving Venom in my zone, Dissolver's in my hand, and I've got a Pendulum monster in my field. I could declare an attack with that Pendulum, activate Dissolver's effect to summon itself there, and just do my attacks. Main phase 2, I'm probably unlikely to do this, because it's never quite come up, but just something that I could do, use Dissolver's effect, fuse itself with Starving Venom, and create Odd Eyes Venom Dragon, which is an option that I could use, but that hasn't come up yet. Generally I use Auto Venom to send, but still it's just an option of something I can do with Dissolver. And then if you've got Oath Dragon in your scale, you can activate his effect to put Dissolver back in your hand because he's an Odd Eyes. And then you've got Dissolver to summon in your opponent's battle phase if they're trying to hit over one of your pendulums. And Dissolver's got a pretty solid defense of 2600, so good chance it could stay on the field. If not, well, at least you've got extra monsters on your field. Okay, so yeah, that's the video, guys. Hope that's given some people some insight in some of the combos that you can do with this deck under links. If you've got any other, if you guys have come up with some combos of your own that might be interesting, feel free to let me know. And like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep producing more content. So hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks, bye.